Hey everyone, we're super excited to finally have some nice weather and get back to working on the van. In today's video, we're going to be installing our hot water heater. We're going to be mounting the hot water heater right in this area, which will be in a bench. It's taped out on the floor. And that's really the best area for us. On this other side, we'll be putting our regular heater. So it's kind of tight quarters in here, and that's where it's going. We're just going through and marking all of our pilot holes, and then we'll drill through here, transfer that to the outside of the van. We'll use a square, get all of our corners nice and squared up, and then we should be good to go on cutting. Elaine's taping out the area now. You want to make sure that you tape it out. That way when you do the cut, the actual paint doesn't separate from the metal, causing any type of like flaking or anything like that. And really this is probably one of the scariest holes we've cut yet, other than this one, the window right above our bed. And that's because if all else fails on the other cuts we've done, then pretty much you can just replace the door. But in this scenario, when you do it in the side, you're kind of up the creek if you screw up, so hopefully we don't. We have our hole cut and the hot water heater fits, which is great, but this outside door and flange is a little bit too big. So we're actually going to have to like cut the plastic out right through here so it can sit nice and flush. Alright, cut this little piece of plastic out. It used to be right here. Now our little door flange fits. Jelaine's touching up the bare metal with a little bit of primer and paint. Once that dries, we'll be ready to set the hot water heater in there.
Paint crew's here.
Now that we have the hot water heater in place, we're going to be attaching the flange and the door to the back side of it. And before we do that, we'll be putting butyl tape on the back side of the flange. That way it has a nice watertight seal against the side of the van. And then we will screw it all in. We have the flange attached. We just pulled the back side of the butyl tape off. We're about to push the water heater all the way up flush with the van and then attach it. One thing that's kind of crazy is they tell you to use these number 8 and 3/4 inch long screws. But on the bottom, if you actually use those, you have to cut them off so the door will shut. Otherwise, they'll keep catching on this little lip right here. Learned that the hard way. But other than that, and a few minor trims on the plastic, right in here and over on this corner, Other than that, went pretty well. It's a wrap on the outside, so a little bit more to do on the inside, and we are pretty much done with the install. All that we'll have left is to hook up the water, electrical, and propane lines. We're putting the finishing touches on the water heater. All that we have left on the inside is just to seal it up with some caulk up against the van wall, and then we'll just be ready to hook up all of the utilities. Jelaine's being super committed right now, practically standing on her head to get this bottom bead put in on our hot water heater. Thanks so much for joining us in today's video. As always, it's time for our tips, tricks, mistakes, and cost.
We decided to go with the Gerard Tankless Propane hot water heater. That way it pulls less power from our battery banks. And we also have two other appliances that are propane, which is the gas oven stove combo and the heater. Some builds don't incorporate a hot water heater, but we really wanted one because I wanted a warm shower and I wanted to be able to wash my hands and just have hot water when necessary. It's kind of nice to have.
And we'll be doing a lot of hiking and rock climbing, which we haven't been doing lately. We've just been so focused on the build, so we're really looking forward to getting back to those activities, and a nice warm shower afterwards will be greatly appreciated. When you're considering placing your hot water heater, think about anything that might be obstructing it from the inside or outside, ribs, columns, any type of like crazy indentions on the exterior of the van. Anything like that can definitely make things complicated. As far as the exterior goes, you definitely want a more flat mounting surface. As you saw in the video, we got down into the plastic trim, which it wasn't like that big of a deal for us, but also it was kind of a pain too. But honestly, ours had to go in that location just because of like height requirements for our bench and also placement for our heater that we'll be installing in a future video. As far as the installation goes, it was relatively easy and straightforward, but using the screws that they recommended was kind of frustrating just because when you open the little latch from the outside, they do stick in all the way around. And as I mentioned in the video, especially the two bottom ones, I might even go with a smaller screw, just make sure it's the right thickness, just because we had to cut ours completely off. There's like this weird little, I don't know what it is, like box type thing on the inside of the door, and our door wouldn't shut at all, and I was like, why the heck isn't our door shutting? This thing's brand new. And then I realized it was like smacking the screws, and the screws wouldn't let it actually latch all the way. So that was kind of annoying, but other than that, it was pretty easy to install.
The total cost for the hot water heater, the door, and the mounting screws was a total of $666.71.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.